going to let you read this at home. In Acts chapter 1, we read about how the disciples waited for Jesus. He was with them. He said, wait for the gift my Father promised, which you have heard me speak about. Be purposeful about your waiting. If you feel in a waiting time where, well, I'm just waiting for something to happen. I'm just waiting to meet a guy or a girl. Well, I'm waiting. Come on. Let's enjoy the waiting time. Let's trust God. It doesn't all have to be about the end result, but enjoy the journey. How many times are we quick to get to a destination and think we must get there, and we miss everything along the way? Sometimes we can be in such a rush. I'll share these quick things from Acts chapter 1. Because the disciples, when they were waiting, they learned lessons. They had a purpose to it. The purpose was to receive the promise of the Father. If you turn to it in Acts chapter 1, verses 12 and 13. They positioned themselves to receive. It says here, they were in the right place and they went to the upper room. In verse 14, what did they do while they were waiting? They prayed. Can I suggest that prayer is always a good thing? If you find yourself in a waiting period, you pray. And guys, if you find yourself in situations where you think, I may be stepping a little bit near the mark right now, and if I just step a little bit further, I'm going to fall off, well, then you either ring someone. You can ring me if you like. I'll put you straight. You ring someone, or you start to pray and say, God, I'm really facing temptation right now. I'm facing an issue. I don't want to fall off this edge. And you pray. And you get ready to receive what God has for you. And be patient and persistent while you're waiting. Don't quit. How many times is it easy to sit there and think, do you know what? I've had enough of this. I don't enjoy waiting. I did that the other day. I forget where I was. Waiting for something. Probably a coffee. No, me. Oh, I was driving last night and I got to the end of a road and everyone was queuing for the fireworks. And I thought, do you know what? Tonight I just can't wait. I had some other things I had to do actually, so it wasn't just a case of being frustrated with the traffic. But sometimes it's like, do you know, that just looks too hard tonight. I'll just stop here. And other times we go along. And we should always remain positive while we're waiting. Isn't it good? It's like, okay, God might not have answered yet. I'm still waiting on this, but I'm going to remain positive. I'm going to believe him. I'm going to trust him for everything that he's got for me. Because it's what faith says in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. And he who comes to him must believe that he exists, and he is a rewarder of those who seek him. And we're going to finish in a minute, and we're going to sing that last song that we sang, To Behold You. And we sung about his glory. And I would just encourage all of us to intentionally seek after God, be prepared, be in the right position to receive. Because in a way, we're all in a waiting period. Because we read in John chapter 14 that Jesus says he's gone to prepare a place for us. So actually, we know where our final destination is if we love Jesus tonight and we've asked him to come and live in our heart. We know that our final destination isn't even here. It's in heaven with him. So in a sense, we're all in that waiting period. And we can see it. And we know what's there. And how we're going to live in between. And I'd just encourage you, next time you're in a waiting room, I know some of you are waiting at the minute. I know some of you have got results that you're waiting for, doctor's appointments to follow through. Some of you this week will find yourself sitting outside an office waiting to be called in. That'll be me on Tuesday morning for my ordination interview that I have. I will be waiting. And some of you will be waiting on what God has for you next. So I just want to encourage you tonight. Now, you don't need to turn there, but if you've got a Bible with a concordance at the back, which is where it lists some extra words that you can do a bit more study on, I would encourage you this week. You can buy a concordance as well if you want one from the Christian bookshop, or you can ask us, is to look up the word wait and to go through the Bible and see where Jesus speaks about waiting. Go through and see why did people have to wait? What happened when they waited? And if you go on from the disciples waiting in Acts chapter 1, Jesus says wait. In Acts chapter 2, the Holy Spirit was poured out on the day of Pentecost, and they received. Why? Because they positioned themselves to receive everything that God had for them. I'm going to invite the band to come back. That would be great. Sam, you've done a great job tonight. Thank you. It's Sam's first night leading here tonight. I don't know if you knew that or not. Yeah. And is that all right? We'll do that last song that we did. Brilliant. Doesn't even have the music for it. Well, it was wonderful. And there was a real sense. You know, I could have just said, well, we'll just pray tonight, because there's been such a sense of God around the worship and things that have been happening. And thank you to those that have shared tonight. And I hope this is encouraging, because the waiting time is never, ever lost if we give it to God. And if you find yourself in that, don't be discouraged, but look up to him and say, okay, Lord, would you help me? Would you take away the fear? Would you take away all the anxiousness? Would you fill my heart with your peace and your joy so that I can enjoy the journey? And then if God drops something in your heart, you're ready for it. And even as we read in Isaiah about waiting on God,